robust urban garlic flavor.
We are back to covering the day one premiere hype launch of Death Stranding 2 on Darkside Phil's streaming channel. And of course, on his pre-stream, there's a ton of salt because that's just the way it is.
Let's instead rally tonight. Let's get some support, all right?
So, Phil had a stream yesterday that was below his expectations, and he's still trying to play catch-up. Even if his average support is over 300 for a day, he will still complain if he didn't hit a goal, because that's just how Phil rolls. And he made over $200 yesterday, so I really don't know what he's complaining about. But he has to just foster this mentality that he's not doing well so he can get more tips. Because begging works.
I'm actually liking the idea of skipping the formal podcast when we do something new. It gives more time for gameplay, and that way we get right to it rather than people getting upset that they have to wait for the,
Considering that the podcast already is like an hour or an hour and a half long, depending on how you ramble or not, you don't need to have a podcast every single day. You can just have a 20-30 minute pre-stream segment. There's only so many times you can go over your schedule and re-go over your schedule and post about your schedule and repost about your schedule. It's extremely redundant and you don't get that.
But it's also good to do a tiny bit of a build-up so that everyone knows what's going on, if anything important to cover, and it gets a little bit of hype built up, right?
But here's the thing, Phil. Sometimes you have 30 to even 50 minutes of pre-rolls at the beginning of your stream with just pictures. Like, that should be 15 minutes at most, and then you do the amp up. Like, you say your streams start at like 11:15 Pacific time. They don't really start until 11:45.
A white-hot, fresh new release. Well, not really, because once again, they've pulled the, first of all, the selected golden few who get advanced copies got them on Monday, and they played it on Monday, so everyone saw the game already. Then if you've spent a ton of extra money for the extra special digital deluxe edition, then you got to play it on Tuesday, so everyone already saw the game as of Tuesday. But if you're a plebeian, if you're one of these unfortunate few who's only going to buy the regular edition of the game, who does that anymore? You have to wait until Thursday. So I'm technically of the third wave of people playing Death Stranding 2. So I'm not going to get any really of that day one hype or views.
You can just hear the saltiness in his voice. Like, he is so upset that he is not one of those golden few people anymore. He used to be. But now, nobody will touch him with a 10-foot pole because he's basically irrelevant. And he doesn't understand why. And we'll get to that later because that does pop up. But Phil's like, yeah, I'm not going to spend extra money to play it early. But the thing is, it's ironic because he predicates his channel on all about that day one hype AAA release part 1. Maximize the amount of money you get on the first day of the playthrough. And then the other stuff, we'll just see how long you can keep it up, or, keep it consistent. Phil is just totally shirking it because he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna do the initial day one release, even though it's not the first release, it's just the end draw out. But, he's gonna act like he's like a blue collar worker, he's working hard for you, even though he's just sitting on his butt playing video games and turning on OBS and just staring intensely at the screen and not looking happy doing it. Phil works so hard for you. It's such a tragedy.
Which I honestly don't care about because I don't think that it was going to be big for this game anyway, to be frank with everyone. I think that there may be an audience for it, but I don't know how big the audience will be. I can tell you when I played Death Stranding 1, within 3 streams, people were bored to tears and were telling me to stop playing the game, but I actually went through the entire thing, despite the fact people told me to stop, because I really liked the story. So we're going to see how this goes, and I've already told you guys up front. I'll say it again. I'm not committing to a full playthrough of this game simply because I'm going to play games that work. I'm not going to force myself to play the entirety of this game if it ain't going to work, and I don't know if it's going to work, to be honest. It may work, it may not. We'll find out together. I'm happy to give it a shot, give it a try, but I don't want to 100% be like, oh yeah, we're doing the whole thing, guys. And then people get...
Yeah, isn't it great when you come to a live stream and the guy's like, yeah, we're doing this on a trial basis, even though all I do is play video games every day. It's not like I'm veering from what I usually do. That's a great way to instill hype for this playthrough with your fans, Phil. Okay, if we don't get enough tips, I'm not playing the game. Yeah, your fans basically implicitly know that, so you don't need to harp on that every single stream. But if you feel like you don't do that, you feel like you won't get a lot of money. So we're kind of in this holding pattern where Phil has to basically pressure his audience, hey, if you want to see this game, you better support it. And it's not like him doing this just once. It's him doing this perpetually, repeatedly, throughout every playthrough he does. Everything is a try it on and see if I get enough tips for it. And that just becomes very exhausting on your audience when they just come here to hang out and have fun, and you make it a pressure driven, fear of missing out experience if they don't support you to the amount that you expect. Here's the thing, Phil, beggars can't be choosers. You got to get more people on the stream if you want more support. That's just how it is. You can't rely on just Only Iced Coffee every single stream. Only Iced Coffee will save a good amount of streams, but he won't save every single stream because he does not have an infinite amount of funds. It's just the way it is.
If I play a game earlier, it'll give us more of a chance to play more of it before something else is happening. Or it's something I'm incredibly hyped for and I'm legit want to play it earlier if I can. But most of the time when we've done early access, it's just bit me in the butt anyway. You know, if you think like Starfield. Yeah, that was really worth it, wasn't it? Like basically at the time everyone was normally playing the game, people who had early access were already quitting. It was that fast of a transition, you know? So I just don't see the point unless there's a real concrete reason to do it. In this case, we needed to finish both Lies of P and Onimusha 2 before we jumped into a new playthrough. So it just made sense to do this today and beat the other games first, or else we would have had these other lingering playthroughs that were unfinished.
So Phil, early access really shouldn't be a huge thing with your audience because you have so few people. It's only if they request it for you that you should actually go get it. Otherwise, who cares? Because your playthroughs are not bringing in more people, and you know that. You see the numbers, they're atrocious. Because you put absolutely no effort in editing your streams, you just clip them up into hour-long segments that nobody wants to watch. Your commentary is few and far between. You mostly just sit there and stare at the screen and just complain about something. Your thumbnails are getting worse and worse because apparently there are people that did thumbnails for you behind the scenes, but now they're gone. So you have to do your own, and you don't know how to make good thumbnails. You're making thumbnails like it's 2008. So yeah, every time Phil spends more money on something when he could have spent less, allegedly, it doesn't work out for him. Yeah, because you don't capitalize on the tools you have. Like, you literally had like 10 million views a month in 2011, and you couldn't parlay that into years of success. You could only turn that into years of e-begging off a very few handful of people.
Dr. Jedi says it was good enough to make a sequel. He must know what he's doing. The thing is, he knows what he's doing, okay? He has name recognition. Kojima can pull this off. Other people couldn't. If other people tried to do a game like Death Stranding, it probably wouldn't work. You'd have people complaining like crazy. But in this case, because it's Kojima, he has that name recognition. One of the biggest devs, most notable devs in the history, right? It's kind of like Miyamoto, Kojima. You can think of the big names, right? So because of that, he can do it, you know, and good on him. Because like I said, I think he told one of the best stories in gaming I'd ever experienced in the first game. But man, the gameplay sucked. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The gameplay, every time you had to deliver a package, it was dirt boring.
Yeah, Phil has a long history of not really enjoying Kojima games. Apparently, he loves the story in the first one, but I've never played Death Stranding, the first or the second one, so I don't really have an opinion on this. I don't really care. I just know that there was a trolling group called the Sons of Kojima that were upset that Phil ranted about one game Kojima made, and they trolled him relentlessly for years. So I think that kind of just leaves a bad taste in Phil's mouth.
But every time you had to deliver something, it was like, wow, now I have to waste an hour of my life doing this to get to the next story portion that I'm very excited for. Thank you. That actually counts as our first contribution of the day. Thank you so much, JRW. So FYI, everybody, after a rocky first stream yesterday because we beat Onimusha 2 so quickly, I had to change topics on the fly. So we ended up changing over to Capcom vs. SNK 2. Didn't do so well. But last night, Taxi Life did great. We had good attendance, good engagement, and good support, and everyone loved Taxi Life. So I'm very happy for that.
Yeah, we are 24 hours past the stream that failed because Phil couldn't improvise, or, it got $64 in tips. I wouldn't call that a failure stream. But to Phil's standards, that is a failure. But he is still going to be harping on this a day later. He'll still be harping on it 3 days later because it is a useful tool for him to extract more money from his audience based off of pity. And he knows that. He knows the game. Like, even if he has a stream, let's say he has a day where he has 200 the first stream and 100 the second, even though cumulatively he hit both goals, he will say that he had a slow stream during the night and they need to make up for it. Yeah, that's just how Phil operates. He wants this consistent level of support, and if it dips one day, which happens because it's YouTube, like if you ever seen views, they go up, they go down, they go up, they go down. Now what you want is a trend where they go up steadily over time, but with Phil, he's not getting that because he doesn't get new viewers, so it's just panhandle mode all the time, hardcore e-begging season every season.
Anyway, yeah, Taxi Life went really well last night, so we had a great time with that, and we did hit a goal last night. So now we're at 33 out of 40 support goals hit, meaning if we can hit support goals moving forward today, tomorrow, Sunday, on Monday, we'll be doing DSP Tries It, the Grillos pickle menu from Sonic. It's the big collab that they're doing. We'll be doing it on release day, which would be awesome to do it actually on the day it releases, okay? So let's do it. Let's get it. Let's hit these goals. Thank you to everyone who's here to chill and support today.
Well, I don't know why DSP all of a sudden wants to eat a Brillo pad sandwich, but hey, we're finally getting our bang for our buck with the reward system because DSP is going to do something he doesn't want to eat. Imagine if that was real. Like, he'd hit the goal in 5 seconds.
Jay Kuma says, I heard other content creators are saying there's copyright in music tied to voice audio. It's a weird choice. I hope they fix it. So what you're saying is I'm going to get all my videos claimed on this playthrough. Oh, that's another thing. That happened last night. All the Taxi Sim that I did all got claimed on YouTube because all the music in Taxi Sim is AI generated, and apparently they loaded the AI generated music into the YouTube algorithm to get claimed. So anyone who makes content with Taxi Sim and turns on, or Taxi Life, and turns on the radio loses the rights to their videos. Isn't that nice? I disputed it, but I don't think I'm going to get it. I think what's going to happen is they're going to clap back and they're going to basically say, oh, we want the 2 pennies you're making on these videos of ad revenue. We'll find out, okay? So, yeah, pretty messed up that they would put AI-generated music in their game, and then when you play their game, they claim your video like to take more money from you after the fact.
Yeah, my opinion on AI is basically it's just stealing. You're taking other people's content and you're just running it through a computer, and the computer just steals things from other people. So it's not really surprising that a company that uses AI music is going to claim videos. But here's the thing, Phil. The game is probably not going to be made for streamers to play it. And it's like, at that point, why do you want the radio music on? Like, you could just use YouTube audio library on a different browser and just play that. That's your go around, Phil. But that's extra work, Phil. You just want to click the button and do it. But yeah, Taxi Life, all those 500 views you get that are like 5 minutes in watch retention of that, Taxi Life is going to claim the couple bucks that you earn off that video. So have fun with that, Phil.
But in regards to Death Stranding 2, I think what you're saying is there's dialogue that gets claimed. That's really stupid. You would hope that they will fix that, and I will probably dispute that too.
Dude, they're not going to fix that, as you call it. games are not really made with the expectation that the main thing that you're going to do with it is stream it. They're meant to be played, Phil. They don't care really about the streamers. It's not a huge deal. I know it's more of a consideration now because of the rise of Twitch and things like that, but at the end of the day, there's just going to be copyrighted music in the game. Like, they could add a streamer mode, but that's just how it is, Phil. Games like licensing music. They don't want to use AI-generated music like you do on your level 1 podcast pre-rolls.
In all the years I've been making content, which is 17 years that I've been making gaming content on the internet, I think there's only been maybe 4 times where I disputed a claim on YouTube and they didn't clear it up. And I tried to play it and they claimed it. They didn't claim it, they actually blocked it with copyright. And I disputed it and then they reinforced it. But that was a long time ago. Usually they don't. If you like dispute it, they'll just let it sit there for 30 days and then they just release it and then you just get all your revenue. It's just late. So I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and every single time that happens, Phil will be sure to let you know that he's losing out on ad revenue so you can tip him more.
License-free music from YouTube is exactly the same, Sidious. If you're not aware, license-free does not mean free to use forever. What it means is you don't have to pay for a license to use it in content, but then they're going to claim your content anyway, which is what happens. If you use license-free music, they will claim your video and get your ad revenue. They've done it to me before. There was this case where years ago, okay, it was actually Machinima Network, right? Everyone worked for Machinima Network on YouTube. We all had partnerships with Machinima. So Machinima provided this third-party service. It was like a website that had all this license-free music. They said, as you're with Machinima, you get all this music, use it. So we all did. I used some of that music for a long time in various different projects and series that I did. And then later on, Machinima said, well, we're not going to pay for that service anymore. So don't worry, you can continue to use the music in your videos, but use it at your own risk. Within 1 week, everyone's videos who ever used the music got claimed, and we all lost all money on those videos moving forward. So there's an entire, 4 years of DSP Tries It that I don't make any money on if you watch now. I'm serious. YouTube is just messed up with the way that they do things. It makes no sense at all.
Well, here's the thing, Phil. Most people don't really make ad revenue on videos 10 years after the fact. And most of them aren't even making videos at that point either. But you are the special exception to that rule. But Phil, those 80,000 videos you have, you probably get 1 view a month for each video. So I think you think that adds up to a lot, which is why you keep spamming inboxes with videos. But if you took the time to edit smaller portions of your streams instead of just chucking these huge blobs of videos and hurling the kitchen sink and hoping that it works, you'd be actually getting more views and more money. But blame it on everybody else. Blame it on Tevin. It's all Tevin's fault.
It says, check settings to see if there's anything in there that they patched in. I'm watching Rad Brad. He had voice audio muted because of it. Rad Brad had voice audio muted because he wants to make money on his videos, because his videos, unbeknownst to just for some bizarre reason, they still get hundreds of thousands of views for playing gameplay. I don't know why, because no one else really gets those views. He still does for some reason. I don't know. But he actually makes bank on his playthroughs, so he wants to monetize it. So he would rather mute actual game dialogue to make money on his video. For me, I'm even if Death Stranding Part 2 gets 10,000 views on Part 1, the most I would make is $15 on that video. So do I care? Not really. I'll probably just let it roll.
The Rad Brad is another sore spot for Phil because he looks at him and he's like, yeah, I could have been that. So the thing is, Rad Brad has 12 million subscribers. So the thing with YouTube is if you have a really huge channel, they say you should expect 10% of your subscriber base would watch your video. So if he has 12, he should be getting 1.2 million views per video. He doesn't even get that. He's usually in the 100 to 200,000 view range. But if you post enough content, if you live stream and you do one a day, that stacks up. And that's the idea that Phil has, but Phil's not getting 100,000 views per video. He is getting, if he's lucky, 500 views on his gameplay. So yeah, maybe people just enjoy the Rad Brad so much that it stacks up because there's enough people that will watch a significant chunk of it. Unlike Phil, whose dedicated following is not people who enjoy his gameplay, it is people that enjoy his begging. So the gameplay is just a non-factor after it's live, so he should just leave his streams up the way they are. If he wants to make minor edits, like head out the beginning segment where it's just all music, yeah, do that. But he's too stubborn to do that, and he doesn't realize that it would probably help his channel because those clips, if you can even call them that, they're not even clips, they're just segments that are hours long, sync his views in the algorithm because his live streams have more total views than his raw footage that he uploads, which is odd because he's probably like, he said in the past that he had like 9,000 views a video when he was live. So it's probably, with his audience down, it's probably anywhere from 4 to 6. But that's like 8 times the amount of the clip. So get rid of the hour clips and just leave the live streams up because it would actually help in the algorithm. Because people see it, there's more views and more watch time because people watch longer when you're live. It may not get as many views after the fact, but it would still lead to more people coming to your channel potentially.
Luna, $10 super chat and says momentum. Thank you, Princess Luna. Getting the super chat momentum started today.
Yes, thank you, Only Iced Coffee, for your robust support of Phil's streams.
So much, 43 bucks of support. We didn't boot it yet is a good sign. Thank you, thank you. We got some subs, we got a membership, we got a super chat. How about a tip? Who's going to be our first tipper for today? Then we'll have it a little bit of everything, a little bit of variety, right? There you go.
Yeah, Phil is so hungry for that money that he is going to beg for it in all different forms. Ever since the casino made him add super chats to his channel, he's like, yeah, we gotta go put in all the effort. We gotta get a kick sub. We gotta get a super chat. We gotta get memberships, even though I got rid of the members goal because of VPNs from Argentina. We gotta get a tip. We gotta get everything because I can't get my instant gratification with the tips right now because not everybody is choosing the tip, which really annoys me. But hey, money is money, so now just because I'm not getting tips, I need to get more money.
And the BTs, not these Raider guys, but the BTs are the creepy, supernatural, back from the dead creatures. So that'll be interesting to see how they look in this one. They looked awesome in the first game. Now on PS5 Pro, we'll find out. But thank you. Great audience, great support, had a ton of fun. If you're watching on YouTube, please remember, liking the videos, leaving comments, the engagement is key. These videos with this music are likely claimed by the third party. If you could do me the favor, perhaps considering a contribution via, say, a tip, you can find the link to that in the description of the video. Thank you all. More coming tomorrow. And then after our 2 initial days of gameplay, we'll determine if this will be a full playthrough or not. So thanks, guys. See you tomorrow for more, but peace out. Death Stranding 2, so far, so good.
Yeah, I already made 99% of the money that I was going to make on this game through the stream, but I'm going to pretend that I make a lot of money on ad revenue, even though I don't, because there's just so few people watching me, that I'm going to try and beg to get super thanks on the video, which I don't put any effort into after I live stream it. Like, I don't edit it whatsoever. It's just a raw full hour chunk of gameplay. So I'm not getting any ad revenue on it, even though I get pennies on the dollar because nobody watches it for a long time. So if you're the one person who watches it for like 10 minutes, please give me $25. And that would be more than I'll make in like 5 videos. So thank you a bunch already for giving me that luscious money because I really need it. I really do. Because it helps me pull more Hogans. Because I like the mobile game thingy.
2.5 to 3 hours of Death Stranding 2 on tomorrow's daytime stream so that we can make our determination if the game is good and if we want to keep going. So I hope you'll join me for that tomorrow as well. All right, everyone? But
yeah, guys, once again, we are going to have a fear of missing out stream experience as I will try and gauge how much interest there is in this game. So if we don't hit the tips goal, I am shelving this game. Isn't this fun? We play tip Phil or he doesn't play the game. Not if Phil entertains us and we give him money. It's just, I beg, you give me money. That's just how it works. I don't have to entertain you at all. I just stare at the screen and grimace the whole playthrough, and it's for my enjoyment, not yours. Just give me money.
thank you so much. Great first stream of the day. I had a good time. I think the game was swell so far. And, you know, I will see you tonight for that awesome Steam stream. That worked. Yes, it did. All right, guys, thank you. See you tonight for the late shift. Peace out. See you then. Oh, Nick did a $2 super chat. Cool game. We're so back. Thank you, Nick, for the final contribution to the stream. See you all tonight.
I don't know. That part just always seems rushed to me. Like, if it just, like, literally pops up exactly when you're going to turn off, I mean, yeah. Of course, it was a small contribution, so it feels like, yeah, I'm not going to make a big deal about this. But at least put some fill action behind it like you usually do. But I guess at this point, you're all begged out. You're ready to go and just have dinner, so I can't really fault you a lot for that, but it is kind of just awkward. So, you know, he's already played Death Stranding 2-3 times already, and I think the last time he played it, he didn't hit the goal, so it may be on thin ice already because Only Ice Coffee isn't supporting it every stream. But we will see if Phil can complete this playthrough or not, or his audience will get bored of him not engaging with them, because that's what always happens.